We always get in life a reflection of what we believe we deserve. And if we believe that we don't deserve money, love, or success, then we will actually block it out of our life. Now, this video, I believe, will change your life because it will help you to feel more worthy so that you have money, love, and success coming after you. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can feel 100% worthy, whole, and complete of having money, love, and success in your life. And I'll tell you right now that I used to believe I wasn't worthy of any of those. And I'll get into the reasoning behind it in a little bit. And there's a little play on words there, reasoning, because when we believe that we're not worthy, whole, complete of money, love, or success, then we continuously block it out of our life. And this was something that I experienced for years, wondering, thinking maybe I'm just not supposed to be abundant in life, thinking why is it so hard, believing that love I always had was attracting certain types of relationships into my life that were showing me that I wasn't worthy, showing me always kind of having a female in my life that was trying to control me. That had to do with my sense of worthiness and what I was comfortable feeling due to past experience. Now, let me show you this though as well. This is our old self. Think of this as the self that maybe doesn't feel worthy, is not abundant, is conditioned by past experience, the version of us that is in the autopilot mind, thinking the same thoughts every day, and has the pain of the past kind of wearing it on our back. And that's all based on the meaning we give to our past experience and the meaning we give to who we are. Now, we are currently thinking, acting, and feeling equal to this version of us. Now, here's the thing, and here's what makes manifestation so much easier to understand. If we want to create our dream reality, all we have to do is imagine the best version of us that feels worthy, that is bold, the version of us that is passionate, that feels love and abundant. Imagine that version of us. And then what we must do is simply be that version of us now. Now this seems so simple and it's like, well, it's not that easy. And the only reason it's not easy is because we've been believing and bought into this one for so long. We've believed that and identified, believing we are the past. We are conditioned. We are in the autopilot mind. We are not abundant. We are not worthy. This has all been based on just autopilot. That's it. When we can start to learn that we can become less of this and become more of this, this is how we experience amazing things in our life. If you've read the works of Neville Goddard, even Joe Dispenza, feeling the emotion now allows you to perceive of the reality you want. So think of it, if we're not feeling worthy, we will get a reality that shows us that we are equal to not being worthy, which means people may treat you like you're not worthy. You may go in groups of people and feel like you're not enough, or you have to kind of people please or kind of agree with people in order to be worthy. You might feel that when it comes to money that you don't have enough of it and you don't feel worthy of it, and that's your reality. All reality is a reflection of what we believe we deserve and who we believe we are. So this video is going to show you how to redo those reasonings, the way that you see yourself, so that you can then experience more of the love and abundance that is in your life. Now, here's the other thing that I wanted to share. Now you could say, yes, I just have to feel worthy. If I feel worthy, then I attract more love into my life. But this is how it really works. The way that it really works is we first have a belief about who we are. Then that belief causes us to have a feeling. And then that feeling causes us to think thoughts consistent to the feeling. That is our state of being. If we're in a certain state, we think certain thoughts. And then our thoughts are equal to that feeling. Then those thoughts lead to us saying, hey, maybe I'm going to take a certain type of action. Maybe I'm not going to go after my dreams because I don't feel worthy. Maybe I'm not going to go talk to that guy or girl over there because I don't feel worthy. And then that action or non-action then leads to a result, which then fuels that same belief. So for example, the most common limiting belief that there is the belief, I'm not enough. And if we believe I'm not enough, then we will feel like we're not enough. We will feel inadequate, insecurity. And then from there, we then think thoughts that are similar to that. I'm not enough. I'm not secure. And then we will take the action or the non-action based on that end result, and it becomes a perpetual cycle. So this isn't about just looking at the feeling and saying, well, I'm going to feel worthy. We have to first off become aware of the belief. The belief is the reasoning. And let me share with you a couple stories about how I went through this. And even more recently, I've become aware of certain beliefs and meanings that I gave to things in the past. So, for example, I had a couple root experiences. So am I enough? Am I worthy? When we say am I worthy, we're really saying am I enough? And what happened was I was thinking that I wasn't enough because of past experience. And that's where most people get caught up. Most people are caught in the knots of their past, believing that their past is who they are. Identified with past experience, thinking this is who I am. If I wasn't worthy in the past, then how am I ever going to be worthy in the future? But the part here that's important to understand is the identity, the identification. So, for example, when we look at this, I found certain root experiences. We all have root experiences of things that have happened in the past, where we then gave things meaning that then became on autopilot. And those things that were then based on that meaning then tend to run themselves out in subconscious ways. For example, I had this one called Clown Boy is what I wrote right here. I had this one experience with I became aware of this actually while deep into meditation. Actually, I kind of even remembered it consciously, but I forgot about it because sometimes in the busyness of life, you forget about certain memories. And I'd ask myself, why don't I feel worthy? Why do I feel such a desire to prove myself to people? And why do I feel inadequate and insecure? And I remembered this one memory that I had back when I was younger. My dad didn't mean this. I love my dad dearly. However, at the time, he probably had his own reasons for doing this. And when I was about 9, 10 years old, I did this weird thing with my tongue, where what I would do is I would lick like the sides of my mouth. Don't know why I did it. I'm sure you look up Louise Hay or something, you can heal your life. I'm sure there's a thing about it, but I was doing that. I was licking the sides of my mouth. And what happened was then it caused a rash that would go right around my mouth, where then it would turn red, and then it looked like I had this red thing going around my mouth. And I remember that I was very insecure of it. And my dad noticed it. And I'm sure my dad had good intentions at some level about this. My dad's a very caring person, but he maybe just wasn't aware in this moment. When we were in a car and I was with him, and I think it was also with the influence of my ex-stepmom, who may have told him, like, you need to tell him to stop doing that or something like that. That's just the feeling I have. But he was saying, like, why you keep doing this thing, like, it's going to keep the rash there. And then he's like, you keep doing it. He's like, okay, clown boy. And he said it like that. And I remember I just started crying. Because here, the way that we view our parents is normally the way that we view God, in a way. That's who is bringing us up. And that's why a lot of times you'll notice that a lot of people that maybe don't have much, they don't want to connect to their spirituality, sometimes it's because their relationship with their parents may have reflected back something to them, and therefore that's how they then viewed reality, spirituality, the way the world works. So in that moment, though, I felt insecure, and even the person that I probably look to the most in the whole world thinks and calls me clown boy. And the meaning I then gave that situation was that I am not worthy, I am insecure, and I am not enough. And for a long time after that, there was a lot of times where I was always trying to prove myself. I then started to associate that if I can do certain things, then maybe I will finally be worthy. I even realized for a long time I was really seeking his approval over anything. He wanted me to, I know he wanted me to like go to college and get a degree. I went to college for a year or two, but it wasn't my passion. I knew I wanted to do something different. And I found myself feeling guilty, like I wasn't enough, insecure. Do I have his validation? And then there was another experience. That was one root experience that clearly came to my mind in meditation, and then it was also in my conscious mind. And then obviously you've probably heard of my story before of my ex-stepmom. My ex-stepmom was in my life between 7 and 15 years old. During that time, my brother and I had almost zero freedom whatsoever. We weren't allowed to have friends. We weren't allowed to do normal kid stuff like watch TV and ride bikes and stuff. We were normally locked outside of the house and had to do yard work, drinking water out of a hose. My brother and I would try to make time go by if we were also not given that much food, so we'd get a bowl of cereal in the morning, TV dinner at night. We were both very skinny. My dad divorced her when I was 15 years old, and all of a sudden, then my brother and I have all this freedom. And it was like a whole new reality. However, because I was talked down to, physically, mentally, and emotionally abused by my ex-stepmom between that time, I felt like I wasn't enough. I felt like my value wasn't there. And the thing is that remained on autopilot. I actually experienced that of some female figure was always in my life that was very similar to my ex-stepmom trying to control me. Because I was comfortable with that emotions. And the meaning I gave to woman is that women want to control me. Woman controlled my dad. The woman and then she controlled me. This is just how it is. So even after my ex-stepmom, 15 years old, comes around, then I have all this freedom. Then about 18 years old, I had a girlfriend before that was also trying to a little bit controlling. And then I had a girlfriend for 4 years that was trying to control me. Very jealous, didn't like if I was hanging out with friends, thought my energy was too much. And I dealt with that. And then I was working at Nordstrom's in women's shoes. Broke up with her a couple years later. And then guess what? I got transferred from one department to a new department. That new department had a manager that was almost the same personality as my ex-stepmom. It's very interesting how that works. And here was the game changer. Years into it, we were trying to get her fired for a long time because she was so, in the department, because she was so, she would say and do things that she shouldn't have gotten away with, but she was protected by upper management. Nothing ever happened. You want to know when everything changed? Was when I realized these things. I realized from the past that I was given things a meaning, that I was my past. I believed that the heaviness of my past was who I am. And then I changed that meaning. I saw the meaning in a completely new way. I then was able to see that those things that happened to me were actually positive because it led me to becoming more aware. It led to waking me up. And if you're here right now, then let me tell you something. You are waking up to more of who you are. The things that happened in your past led you to going within. It served a purpose. When I realized that the pain of my ex-stepmom and all that stuff led to my spiritual awakening, I then changed the meaning of the past. Now realize this is the scale of consciousness right here. We have shame, fear, anger. That's where I lived for a long time, was in fear and anger. The neutrality was where I learned meditation. I learned how to observe my thoughts, to observe the things that happened in the past. Then what happened is I became aware of the reasoning. The reasoning is the meaning. I gave meaning to things in the past. I gave the meaning to my ex-stepmom situation as I'm not worthy. I gave meaning to the whole I have ADHD and can't focus thing, and then realized that I agree to it. We are the ones that make up these meanings. And now many times, many other people may agree and see and say, well, yes, of course that's a meaning that you should agree with. I would agree with that too. Yeah, you shouldn't have experienced that when you were younger. But here's the thing. We have to realize that we generated the meaning. When we see that we generated the meaning and agreed to it in the first place, we can then change it by reframing it. I think that a lot of the ex-stepmom stuff happened because then it led me to my spiritual awakening so that I can now help so many people. That's me changing the meaning. When I changed the meaning, it changed my life in so many different ways. So our worthiness is directly correlated with how our sense of value. Are we enough? And if we have this big value system in our mind, these rules that say, I know that I will feel worthy once X, Y, Z, then we're putting our sense of worthiness outside of ourselves. Let me tell you something. This will change your life understanding this right here. You are worthy and valuable for just being you. That's it. You don't need to do anything for me to love you. You don't need to do anything or be in a certain type of way for me to accept you. You are worthy for being you. You add something unique and special into the world. There is no one in the world that can do what you do in the way that you do it. Everything on this planet has a purpose. If you were to watch different nature documentaries, the way the seasons work, the way everything in nature work, it all has a purpose. And it is part of this rhythm of life. And if we can agree that everything has a purpose, you have a purpose. And you have a purpose in something that you're meant to be embodying in this life. And the more you embody that, the more value you put out into the world. When I started doing what I'm passionate about, which is making these videos, I started to feel more, and you don't want to and think that what you do is what makes you worthy, but you need to know that I am who I am right now. Me making videos is who I am. Sharing these ideas is who I am. The more you tap into who you are, the more valuable you will feel. And when you get rid of those past meanings that you gave things, that's when you start to become free. You may have given things in the past the meaning that I feel anger, fear, whatever, shame for what happened in the past. That's why it feels so heavy right now. And you've thought and identified with your past, and that's what's brought it into the present moment. And then you said, I'm not enough. You are enough. You don't have to do anything to be enough. You just are. When you lessen the degree of the rules you have as to what it takes for you to feel valuable, that's where everything begins to change. When you realize your own worthiness, when you believe that you are enough, because you see that you don't need to be in the level of reasoning. Reasoning is where all the pain happened in the first place. I'm not worthy. I believe this. I believe that. That's all reasoning. The truth is, you are love. You are love, and you have value just by being you. That's it. This whole belief thing is from the reasoning and below paradigms. Now, we'll still use this in our life, but the key is knowing who you are at your core. You are love. The more you tap into who you really are, expressing it, not caring what people think, is the more free you are going to feel. So realize that. You are enough. And all you have to do is get to the core experiences that cause you to feel like you're not enough. There may be many of them. There are way more than just 2 for me. But as I become aware of them, I then see them for what they are. Just meanings, things I gave meaning to in the past. They are not really who I am. And then as I change the meaning, it then changes my life. You see, we all have a story we tell ourselves. We have a story that says that I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not abundant. That's just a story. And if you want to be worthy, all you got to do is let go of this story and realize that you really are love at your core. You are enough. You are enough, and you have value just by being you. And when you lessen and you redo that in your mind, remember, because belief comes from the meaning, then your feeling will come and you will finally feel like you're enough. And when you're in that feeling state, you will perceive of opportunities, you will perceive of more money in your life, you will perceive and be at the right place at the right time to attract love. That's all it really takes. But the key to this is feeling 100% worthy, whole, and complete by completing the past and realizing you have value for being you. And if you didn't know, one of my most popular meditations I have is on feeling 100% worthy, whole, and complete, and completing those past experiences. Listen to that for 21 days. It will transform your life, and it will allow more money, love, and success to come into your life. I'll go ahead and link that below, plus an end card right here. You can click on it and listen to that for 21 days. Read the comments and see what's possible. Other than that, you are enough. Peace. Much love.